Salve to discipuli. This is Mickey Strabetti, and this lecture is about the stage 22 perfect active participles. We've learned two different types of participles so far. This isn't a completely new one, it's just a twist on one that we already know. All right, so what is a perfect active participle? Same as all the others, a participle is a verbal adjective, so it started off as a verb and was converted into an adjective. For the perfect active participles, we translate them as having verbed. So having cooked, or having cleaned, or having studied. They are passive in form, but active in meaning. So this is where the twist comes in. They're going to look exactly the same as the perfect passive participles, but we translate them actively. For those of you who are interested, they are made from deponent verbs. I'm not going to get into exactly what those are, but if you're curious, go ahead and look that up. Some examples of the perfect active participle in English. The man, having entered the house, put away the groceries. Having entered is our perfect active participle. Its antecedent is the man. Because it's active, he, the man, the antecedent is doing the participle. The dog, having chased the cat, curled up on the couch. So the dog curled up on the couch is our main part of our sentence. Having chased the cat is just more information about the dog. The girl, having finished her homework, took a break. So the girl took a break is our main clause. Having finished her homework is just more information about the subject, the girl. All right, go ahead and pause the video, copy down these two sentences and follow the directions. Make sure you underline the participle, mark its case number and gender, put brackets around any prepositional phrases, draw an arrow from the participle to its antecedent, label SVDOIO, and then translate. All right, so our first sentence will be a culinam ingressa sorori fibulam ostendit. Ingressa is our perfect active participle. We know that it's a perfect active participle, in part just because that's how we learned it. It looks like a perfect passive participle because it looks like a typical fourth principal part, yet and it has our 1-2 adjective endings, yet it doesn't make any sense at all to translate it as a passive. So let's go ahead and label it. Will be as nominative, so it's our subject. Culinam's a direct object. This is dative, so it's indirect object. Fibulam's direct object because it's accusative, and ostendant is our verb. It's important to point out here that participles can have their own direct objects. So this direct object here, this accusative here, is not receiving the action of the main verb. We're not going to translate this as Wilbia showed the kitchen. It's Wilbia having entered the kitchen showed the pin to her sister, or you could say showed her sister the pin. There are a few different ways you could write this sentence. Now, ingressa, our participle, is modifying wilbia. Wilbia is the antecedent. Because it's active, wilbia is doing the participle. All right, senex deam precatus abit. Precatus is our participle. Looks like I forgot to underline it. It has its own direct object, deam. It is nominative, singular, and masculine. Therefore, it is going with senex. Because this is active, senex is doing the participle. So the old man, having prayed to the goddess, went away. Or you could say left. All right, so how to make perfect active participles. Don't worry about it right now. This is really confusing stuff, and it'll be a lot easier and it'll make more sense later when we learn more information about these. For now, just memorize them in the vocab. They will look like this. So over here is the English, having received or having obtained, having entered, having prayed to. These are the three for stage 22. This is what they will look like in the flashcards. Really, it just looks like a 1-2 adjective, adeptus aum, ingressus aum, precatus aum. But instead of saying 1-2 adjective over here, it's going to say perfect active participle. How to recognize them when you see them in a sentence, really you just have to rely on logic. Does it look like a perfect passive participle? But does it not make sense as a passive? Then you are looking at a perfect active participle. Here's what it looks like drawn out, and for those of you who are really curious, this is what a deponent verb looks like. I mostly just wanted to show you where we get the perfect active participle from. So it comes from this part right here. So here it is, all of the masculine forms, all the feminine forms, all the neuter forms. So using your 1-2 adjective endings for it. All right, active versus passive. This is a quick review. So in the active participles, the antecedent is doing the action described by the participle. But in the passive, the antecedent is receiving the action. Now, quick review. Remember, participles are verbs acting as adjectives. They describe a noun. They match their antecedents in case, number, gender. Perfect active participles will come from the third principal part of deponent verbs, but don't worry about that. For now, just memorize them as they come through in the flashcards, in the vocab. And don't forget that they use your 1-2, your first and second declension endings. Quale to discipuli.